Hey, welcome back to the garage, everyone. How would you like to know that there was a car color so scandalous that the executives at the company had to pull it because it referred to an adult film? We'll get to that in a few minutes, but we're going to talk about how we got to that point and the wild times of the bright colors from the early 70s from Chrysler Corporation. To get there, let's go through a little step process, because car colors were pretty basic up until the 1950s, when you had the new designs coming out and the euphoria of the post-war. So you had these beautiful colors like turquoise and mint and light green and coral, different shades of coral. Every car company had them. So it was kind of a new trend of having personalized, bright colors to go along with the mood of the country. And then, of course, at the late 60s, once again, the colors started to grow. I'm going to explain how we got, from just corals to colors like plum crazy. Because the other car companies like Ford and General Motors were kind of conservative in their names. They had Hugger Orange and Marlboro Maroon Red and, of course, Competition Blue. But, of course, Chrysler, being Chrysler, had to be very different. And they were so different that one of their colors just referred to an adult movie. Now, Dodge and its sister division, Plymouth, were known from 1969 to 1972 for the high-impact car colors. Now, they were slight extra cost, but hey, what's a few dollars more to have something that sticks out from the brand X cars that are parked next to you in the parking lot or your high school? Now, we are all familiar with the color palette, Hemi Orange, Tor Red, which is the same color. Go figure. Top Banana, Lemon Twist, Sublime, Limelight. I always have a hard time with that one. Plum Crazy, In Violet, Panther Pink, and Moulin Rouge. These are two different names. The first one's, of course, being the Dodge name, and the second one, the Plymouth. And they just did this to give them their own corporate identity. Same paint codes, same paint color. But first, let's go see how we got there. See, this whole color trend at Chrysler Corporation was not started in Detroit or Auburn Hills or anywhere up in Michigan. No, it was actually started by the regional sales manager for Plymouth Chrysler in Los Angeles. His name was Jock Fear. Jock Fear was a very observant man, and he noticed in 1968, the summer of love, everything had brighter colors, the clothing, the album covers, the accessories they had. And then he also noticed that people buying imported cars bought yellows and bright greens and orange and lipstick reds. And he's like, maybe there's something to this. So he went and he ordered 11 of the newly redesigned 1969 Plymouth Roadrunners for his region in Omaha Orange, which is kind of close to this orange. It was used by industrial products and municipalities to stand out as high impact color. That's what Chrysler called it. And so he ordered 11 of them, like I said, and they went to lots and they were sold immediately. Knowing he was on to something, he's like, what else? What other colors can I add to this palette? So he looked and he saw that they also had a yellow and kind of a bright green. So he was like, well, we'll just call this Bahama Yellow and we'll call this one Rally Green. And he bought a bunch of those cars, and then he bought some more Omaha Orange cars, and he was able to get hooked up with the Los Angeles Grand Prix and have these cars as pace cars and VIP cars, and just going around the circuit a lot. The public went crazy over these colors, and so did the Chrysler executives that saw this. And they're like, we need to get on this. So they started formulating new colors for 1970 in mid 1969. And they were like, this is a perfect opportunity because we're releasing the E-bodies in 1970, or late 69, the Dodge Challenger and the Plymouth Barracuda. And what better way to introduce these except in bright, incredible colors that I had listed before? You know, actually, you know, a little crazy fact, the most popular color in 1970 on a Challenger is plum crazy. The thing is, when he ordered these cars, they were 999 cars. And because now Chrysler was taking them in-house, they had to get real color codes. See, 999 is used to order a color that's not standard on that body. Hence why he's putting an industrial color on a Roadrunner. Now, the most famous 999 color that never had a color code at Chrysler is Petty Blue. A lot of 70 Superbirds are Petty Blue, but they're 999 cars. They don't have a paint code on them, on the build sheet or on the fender tag. It's one of those little weird quirks from Chrysler. So you had to see the color to actually match it, because nothing tells you what color it really is. So most of the colors had really strange names when they're with Plymouth, and Dodge usually had a more mundane, kind of straightforward name. Now, there's only two examples of it not being that way that I could think of. One was Gringo, which was rally green for Plymouth, but it was Gringo for Dodge. And the other was Go Man Go for Dodge, and that was just vitamin C for Plymouth. Yeah, I know. Weird, huh? All those colors, they only lasted a few years, with Hemi Orange and Top Banana making it to 72, and then Top Banana making it to 73. I forgot to mention one of the colors, and it's the color that has the slight controversy with it. The thing is, the Dodge name for it is quite mundane, and it's actually kind of on point. It's called Citronella. And that's because this color looks like a citronella candle, you know, the type you burn to get rid of mosquitoes. But actually, right now, we would call it like a highlighter, because it looked green in some lighting, and it looked yellow in some lighting. And I'll show a picture here. This is just one of those weird colors. Plymouth being Plymouth, and it's the division that gave us Moulin Rouge. And if you don't know what Moulin Rouge is a really risque cabaret in Paris, France, that had very risky attire on women. And it gave us a lot of the dance numbers and feather dancing and all that type of stuff. That's where that came from, Moulin Rouge. And that was a car color. But that really wasn't the most outrageous color they had. No, no, no. Their most outrageous color is Curious Yellow. Yes, Curious Yellow. Now, before you start jumping here, let me get on this one. See, some sites list this as, you know, a nod to Curious George. If only it was that innocent. You see, at the same time as the Summer of Love, with its cultural revolution in clothing, music, just attitudes toward life, movies were going to start reflecting this. The first well-known one was a Swedish film released in 1967 called I Am Curious Yellow. And there was a second one called a second half to it, I Am Curious Blue. But I Am Curious Yellow is the one that has the name of infamy. See, that movie was released in 1967 worldwide, and it got to the United States, and it lasted not long, in 1968, and was pulled from theaters. See, the movie wasn't PG. Really wasn't. Definitely not family rated. It wasn't even R. This was like close to X. I mean, it was really pushing boundaries, and the culture was just not going to accept that type of movie at that time. So it didn't last long. Of course, the brass at Chrysler did not know that that was what this color was based on until they did. And then they killed it because they said, we can't have this. So that color really didn't make it to the end of 71. And in fact, it was supposed to continue on with the other yellows into 72, because yellow was a very accepted color. It was still in the zeitgeist, unlike, you know, the purples, the bright greens. I think Sassy Grass made it in there. Sassy Grass, actually, that's what Green Go. Oh, crap. Green Go. I made a mistake before. Green Go is Sassy Grass. I forgot about that. I got confused on the two. It's okay. But that color also extended to 72. You know, they just got rid of the really loud colors. Hemi Orange continued on until, in the 72, and then, of course, Top Banana made at the end of 73. It kind of just died out with a slight whimper. Well, except for the slight controversy of the paint color named after a really risque movie. Yeah, that's a color that just lives down in infamy. And actually, those cars, the color actually does add a fair amount of value to them, because it's such a weird one-year color, especially in the Plymouth, where it has that name. It's just a thing. We got rid of those colors, and then we ended up with browns and greens for the 70s, because the 70s were described as brown and green. In the 80s, we ended up getting colors again, which is awesome, great. That's what I have on this. Let me know in the comments down below what you think is your favorite color, or actually what you know is your favorite color, because why would you think that? That's just crazy. And whether it be name or actually the shade, just let me hit me down below on that. I'm just curious, because I saw some colors in Australia that are really weird. As always, if you got anything out of this, anything entertaining, fun, if you learned something, hit that like button, smash it, baby, smash it. And also, if you like car stuff, subscribe, because if you subscribe to my channel, it helps you get more car stuff in your little feed when you get it, because that's why YouTube works. It kind of says, they like this, and they go through. Of course, I'm trying to get to 10,000 by the end of the year, and I really would like your help on this, because we'd both be benefiting from it. See how this works? And if you want to see my stuff when it comes out, usually Tuesday or Wednesday, depending how busy I am, hit the little bell. And I do lives. So you get that bell, you can see when I'm going to do something like that. As always, if you have a cool car or something fun to drive, which is this, hey, take it out. You'll make someone's day, probably your own. And I'll see you soon.